Well, it's Sunday. It's time for another What's Sold on eBay. Again, I've just picked some random items. It's just a small percentage of what we sold. Sales are still going up, again, but we list 5 days a week for, at least 8 hours a day. And that's just the way we're doing it now through the summer. I've talked to people who don't like listing in the summer and all these other issues. If you're not listing continuously, your search ranking is going down and it's going to affect your sales throughout the year. So just please keep that in mind. Again, that's for your benefit. There's never a bad time to list. In my book, I never have an issue. It's stuff for the fourth quarter. If you're waiting till the fourth quarter to get it up, you're already behind the game. So anyway, we're going to go over to the screen and I'm going to show you what we sold.
Well, here we go. This is the first item. Again, I've just picked some random items. Nothing specific, nothing in any pattern or anything else like that. Again, I'm not going to show you clothing. I've removed a bunch of the records. I don't think I have any records in here. I've sold a ton of records, mind you. But the paper seems to be the hit with everybody, and it is for me. This is our biggest money maker. This is the area that you will find the most profit in on pretty much anything you sell is paper. That's where we make more profit on than anything else we sell across the board. And I get it dirt cheap, so I have nothing into all the items that you see. I've got a couple bucks into this piece here. It's a big piece, though. You can see it's like 13, 14 inches. We took 65 on this. I've got 34 cents or 35 cents into listing it. So, it's a quick profit. I made 60 bucks. They paid for shipping. Minus fees, I made about 54 or somewhere in that range. But again, huge profits. Nothing special. I've got 3 or 4 of these still. So, it's something I got cheap. I think I paid like 10 bucks for 4 of these. So it's just literally $2.50, I think, is what it was into this. Hang on, and I talk about roller skating labels. Here's an offer right this second, unplanned. I will just leave that here, so we're just going on about what we're talking about here. That's the second one today, too, mind you, on those roller skating labels. On here, though, this is another one I sold. Now, the person who's bought this one, he actually bought it at full cost. This is his 7th one he bought this week. Full cost, already paid for, and shipped. And the same thing last week. I haven't seen this person before. They just started buying from us in the last 2 weeks. And it's been a routine since then. They buy a couple every few days. When a package arrives, it seems they order a few more. So I don't know what their plans are. They're all these kind of cards. It's a very nice card. It's $18.91 it was made. It's got a date on the bottom. Nice printer, nice early, cute image. The same image is reproduced right now on like wall art and stuff that you can find on Etsy. This is the original real deal, though. Real nice one here. I've got like maybe 50 cents into this card, too. Let's see here. I've got another person who just started buying last month, and all they buy from us is bee-related. Hummingbee, bumblebees, anything bee-related cards they buy from us. And there's a ton that are called Beehive that actually show the beehive in it. This one was a special one. They bought one of these, a similar one like this, last month for around the same price. This one I got 65 bucks out of, and it went for more than most cards because all the color on this card is hand-painted. And again, I've got a video coming out soon on how to tell if something's hand-painted versus just mass-produced on these early cards, on postcards specifically. But that same will carry over to any paper item at all. So be on the lookout for that if you want to be able to do better on paper and be able to tell. You can watch some of the views. You can see some of the comments, even on my Facebook group, The Auction Professor. People are finding this stuff. I just had a gentleman pay $1 for a postcard after my recommendations. He just sold it for $92. And I hear this constantly now these days. People doing this, they're finding that. They're finally seeing, you're finally getting into these items and seeing the profit. These are items anybody can find. And, proof is in the pudding. I've got many people now, dozens and dozens now, that are saying, they found this, they found that, they sold it, they made a profit. They would have never looked for it before had somebody not pointed it out. So, this is just a perfect example. Very lovely card, actually. I like this. This is circa 1870s, very early. Let's move on. Here's another one. This would be a bolo. Cyberling. If you see SF Cyberling on anything, postcards, letterheads, anything with paper with this gentleman's name on it always sells for us. I usually can't keep them in very long, honestly. And I don't know what it is. I think I've sold every one of these I've had, and if you do even like a Ended search, you're going to see several others of these that I've sold in the last couple months. It's the Empire Twine Binder. Now, there's other places that would have sold the Empire Twine Binder, but for whatever reason, this person is sought after. No idea why. I haven't seen anything special about it. I don't see anything else selling other than these cards that I've had. So anyway, I put every one up I have. I look for them specifically too. I always snag these up. I've got $1 or $2 into this card. It was with some postcards, actually. It's about the same size as a postcard. This is a local magazine. Now, I had a bunch of magazines sell this week. I'm going to show you this one specifically because it's local and it's something oddball. I had never seen this title at all. And it says newspaper, but it's actually basically a magazine. It's got every hallmark of a magazine. Magazine size, printing style, insides, everything. $1 I paid for this. I took $28.50 for it. It was up for like 15 cents worth of listing fees. So, you know, there's nothing into this. Even after fees, I don't pay postage. They pay postage. I'm still making like $24 on this in profit. It's the oddball things that you've never seen or like, you know, you would think wouldn't sell that sells. And I had a bunch of these, not the same issue or same title, not Area Auto Racing News, but other ones similar to this with different titles, and they all sold. I think I only have maybe 1 or 2 more left like this. People frame these. You know, it doesn't even matter what the title is of the magazine. In many cases, it'll go up on a wall somewhere. Let's move on here. Again, you saw I have an offer. Maybe at the end I'll accept it. You'll see what the offer is. But again, I sell these all the time. I took 20 out of this one is what I got on this one. And that's about average. $15 I think is the low end that I've ever taken on these. Sometimes if they're buying, you know, multiples, I'll sell them for 15. But usually I counter back in everybody to at least 15 or 20 for every one that's put in. And again, I sell one of these almost every single day of the week. Today I will have 2 if that offer that I just took in is a decent offer. But we'll wait to the end, and I think I'll look at that offer too. But another one of these, I sold a bunch of these, at least one a day in airline labels. I sell every day of the week, every single day. I've got another stack to list from several different picks. It takes a couple picks to get any quantity to be worth listing, but you know, I've got plenty of time. I've got plenty of stock that's built up. I've got hundreds of these that have not been listed right this very minute. Same thing goes for roller skating labels. I'll wait till I get probably 300 or 400. I sell enough to not worry, and then I'll pop a whole bunch up on the same day, and I'll sell a bunch of them the same night if I list hundreds. Let's see here. Let's move on. I put this one up here, all the glitches. This is one of my glitches here. The photo should be there. The item sold, you can see the photo in the browsing of it, but when you click onto it, it's not there. Now, I've asked the buyer on this, had they seen the picture. The picture was there until the minute it was sold, so I am not losing out. So if you don't see it till it's in an inventory file or somewhere else and it's not active, it doesn't mean anything. When you put it active, I believe there is a way to get the photo back. I'm not worried about it because every one of my listings are always active. I don't let them sit or hold or anything like that. If we do a 30-day relist like on the test we're doing now, I still only have like 18 days or something on the test. You know, we just relist those every 30 days. And I haven't had any issues. This is one of 2 out of 40,000 listings that was one of my glitches. And again, I'm not worried about it. It's sold. The other item that I found that didn't have a photo sold as well. And again, I asked the person, had there been a photo in the listing prior to me seeing no photo? And yes, they saw the photo. The minute it was sold, the photo disappeared. Now, I'm sure there's just some kind of technical glitch here. The photo is probably on a server. The link's broken or something. Maybe a timer or something was set wrong that says after so many days the photo will be taken out of the system. That's probably all it is, because having the browse photo visible shows you that the photo is still there. It's using that photo. So anyway, I'm not worried about the glitch. I don't think you should either, unless you've got them in inventory for whatever reason and you're trying to post them that way. But let's move on here. I talked about these photos. I've showed many of these that I've gotten in tons of lots of these. I have over 600 of these from one pick, and another pick or several other picks. I've got another 400. So close to 1,000 photos still in this category, all with military image jets on them. Altogether, we've probably got 4,000 or 5,000 photos. Maybe it's even up to 6,000. I don't have my paper right here on total counts. Photos listed like this, similar 8x10s across several of our sites. So photos sell for us all the time. This one sold first off, straight out, $57.50 the day it was listed, within an hour, literally an hour. No arguments, no nothing, and this was a make an offer too. I sold a bunch. I've got some others in here so you can kind of give an idea on what to look for. But these are just literally 8x10s, not in super condition. They do have some age and, you know, edge issues and some discoloration here and there. These are official. They're all stamped with, you know, the official logos and stuff from the companies that produce the airplanes. This one here, it's a fantasy card. This person bought 3. These were up for a little while. I think I got, you know, 10 cents or so in a listing, just a couple months. Again, I put some of these really high. The average on this one is about 10 or 15 bucks. I took 25 out of it. Again, I offer great service on this. I take care of the cards. I make sure they're nice cards. This person bought 3 different cards. They were originally priced at $57.50 a piece was my price. I sold them each one for 25 bucks, which is higher than usually these go for. I usually get 25 bucks for them or higher though. Some I have gotten 50 bucks or higher for. You saw one last week on what sold that I did take 50 bucks on, but the person's buying 3. You know, I got nothing into these, you know, just $1 or something, maybe even less than that at this point. So I've got nothing to lose. It's 75 bucks all at once. I've got seconds and thirds of most of these cards that you see because these are ones I search out. Anthropomorphic pigs always sell. And this, if you haven't seen the postcard designs that I do, I actually did anthropomorphic pigs myself for my Halloween cards. And that is my #1 viewed item across all 40,000 of my items. And again, as I showed in other videos, I sell 1 a week or more every single week, and they're actually picking up as I'm getting closer. I sold 2 this week just on eBay and a couple more on other sites. I am going to sell out of this postcard by Halloween at the rate it is going right this minute, and I'm going to have $900 return on my $23 fee for buying the postcards that I printed and an hour or so at a time. So I'm going to probably go into that and make some other opportunities for you, show you some other ways that you can do that yourself and mass list something that you only have nothing into, that's just something you can create at your house. But that's coming up in the future. But back to this again, I sold 3 of these for 25 bucks a piece, 75 bucks, same person. He's bought from me now, I don't know, 2 or 3 different times of these same card series. He's trying to collect the whole set, obviously. And that's why I talk about repeat business and listing multiples and waiting to list some things when you get the opportunity to do it. I know everybody's not going to be able to do that depending on where you're in your business. If you're just starting off, you're not going to be able to, you know, sit there and wait on some of these items. You're going to have to turn stuff quicker. But that goes into putting more time into your business to list more items and get more stuff up so you can wait a little longer and a little longer and a little longer until eventually you can just let everything ride and just have residual income coming in every day of the week. For us, we have a high daily average of sales. So, you know, if we're profiting over $700 a day, I don't worry about any of the other things. I'm taking a few less bucks. And again, I price them really high. And I've said in the past, you know, 3 times what they might go for from other people, I price my stuff at that price 3 times. So if somebody put $10, I'm probably going to put $30 or better on the item in my store, especially if the last few that sold were buy it nows. Buy it nows mean nothing as to what the card could go for. It just means somebody bought it at a certain price. If somebody put a higher price, it could have sold at a higher price. Let's say somebody did a buy it now on this same card for 50 bucks. That doesn't mean that the card's only worth 50 bucks. It means that the person lowballed it and didn't put high enough on it for the most part. I may put 100, 150 on this same card if I see one at a buy it now go for 50 bucks. But let's move on here. I sold beer cans, several lots to different people. I assumed they were the same person at first, but they were not. Very surprised. But these have been up for a little while. I've got like 60 cents into listing them. They did go for the $24.50, no big deal, and they paid postage. Old ones, steel ones, you can see the steel connection points here on the side. That's what you look for in these old ones. They're not huge movers, but I pick them up huge lots of them, sometimes 400 or 500 of them for like 20 or 30 bucks, literally, especially at garage sales, because most people think they're just junk, especially if they're a little rusted and stuff. But we've sold cans for $400 and $500 a piece. So don't turn your nose up at them. This was a quarter item out of a bin. I sold it for $12.50. I think I put this actually up in an auction. Had it for a little while. I have 30 cents in listing it, so I've got 55 cents into buying it and listing it for the entire length it took to sell it. And they paid postage, and you know, basically I got 10 bucks profit out of this. Maybe a hair more than that. Next item here, another one of the photos. This person bought 7 photos, so I think the average price on each one of those 7 was around $30 plus they paid postage. They bought the same thing, all B-52F BW Strato Fortress. It's a specific plane used in specific combat. Very good one here, and again, I sold a bunch of them. We sold like 17 of these the very first day it went up, and I had offers again. This is the second batch now. Last batch, the first small group I listed, I had an offer on every single one. This one here, we had 17 offers right off the bat, or I'm sorry, we had more than 17 offers. We sold 17 in this very same first day they were listed. So, you know, we made an extra $400 or $500 in the very first day these went up. Increase above and beyond. That was like a $1,500 sales day, just that one day that these went up on that day. That's all my employees did, whereas I had several people listing just these photos to get them all up. Again, more of the photos. Again, $30 average sale price. Now this one was interesting. This is Votes for Women. Now this is suffragette. Now if you don't know, if you see anything, this is a bolo for anything. Sheet music, books, anything that says Votes for Women is a killer. You got to get it. If it says Votes for Women, buy it. It's a suffragette. It's women's rights to vote. But this is Votes for Women. It's the women's right to vote. It's a very good item. Everything that I ever get that says women's suffrage or Votes for Women sells for decent money. $40 we took for this. It was up for a little while, as I said. I got like 30 cents into it, maybe 35 cents into listing it. This was a $1 purchase at a antique mall. Literally, with a bunch of other ones. I got another Votes for Women too. That one sold immediately the same week I had it up. This one, again, sat here for a little while. But again, I got $1 in each of the 2 cards. This one I took 40. The other one for 75. That was $2. I made over $100 profit from a antique mall. And I bought a bunch of postcards at that antique mall. So even if I only went and sold 2 of these 2 postcards for the hour or so I spent in the mall, I still made over $100. If that was all I sold, which is not the case. You know, that one trip alone, I probably made $800 or $900 already, and not counting that I have a ton of other items still up for sale. Let's move on here again. One of the other cans, I took 15. These Japanese early ones seem to sell, except especially the Suntory ones. They sell better than most of the other ones. There's a whole set of migrant ducks that sell on these, but that's what that one was. Mark's Furniture, I took 12, 15. Now I got a whole set, a house full of this furniture in every different color, every room, and I paid like $8 for the entire lot of them, and I split them all up, and I averaged from, this was the least I got for it. I took $12.50, as I said, but all of them I put up for $12.50. The other ones went for like $15 to $17. So out of that $8 investment, this is the last one that we sold. We got like $60 back max. That's take home, around $60. So Mark stuff always sells. They're just plastic little toys from the metal tin dollhouses. Let's see here. Let's look at the next one. This one here, I paid $1 for it. Person who I bought it from hadn't a clue what it was. Now I've had one of these and a different size of it. It's actually numbered, signed on the bottom with a little mark on it. Caron Nuit de Noel. Now I'm probably butchering the name, but the gist of it, this is a very expensive perfume. Had this had even an ounce or so in this bottle, I would have probably sold it for $150. The person's question on this bottle was, did it still hold any of the original scent? That's what they're looking for on these. Now most of the time you don't care if there's perfume in it, but these old early ones like this, if there's perfume in it, it's worth more. Had this been full and sealed, it might have been a $1,000 bottle of perfume. It's a very nice bottle. Baccarat, it's just a killer piece. I took $45 actually for it. It's been up for a little while again. I don't have much into it. They're paying shipping. I got $1 into it. So, you know, no big deal. It's a huge profit for me. Again, I bought some of these from a shoe guy, a guy who collected shoes. Now, you know, people ask where you find this stuff at. I think out of the box. I don't always worry about, you know, a source of location for some of these items, because I happen upon these sometimes. This person had antique shoes. He was an antique shoe collector. I bought hundreds of paper items that he had gotten. I even bought some shoes to turn around, and those have already sold, but I bought a ton of his paper items. So it didn't list paper in the collection that was for sale. It didn't list any of the paper items that I bought. He was a shoe person. No one thought about it. He didn't think it held much value, and I got him for almost nothing. So, you know, this is the kind of thing, this is outside the box. Where are you going to find paper? like bowling labels. You can go to old bowling alley sales, closeout sales, like going under sales, liquidation sales, and find bowling labels too for the bowling bags that advertise bowling alleys on them. And those are similar in pricing to a lot of the roller skating labels. That's another bolo you could be looking for. There's another source of opportunity for that. You know, when places close down, look up those places in the news. Every week, check to see for liquidation sales. If you're only interested in the vintage stuff, that's fine too, because that kind of stuff shows up. When a printer goes out of business, when a movie theater goes out of business, there's always stuff that's been stuffed in the back for decades, especially the older ones. And that's where I find a lot of this stuff as well too. This one was shown in one of the videos, I believe. This is one of the cigar labels. Price-wise, this went for over what Cigar Label Price Guide had it listed as. So as I said, I usually don't get what it says, but this one was a different story. I took $150 on this. It doesn't book for that. It's not a high dollar one. It's a very pretty label though. It's very attractive. So again, I've already made a ton of money off those labels that I've showed in some of my haul videos. This one, 1850, went overnight. Anything from that area will sell. Next one here. This is like one of those quarter 50-cent jewelry things. It doesn't look like anything. The person was very happy. I'm assuming they knew it was something specific. I don't have a clue what this was. We took $28.50 on it. Again, it's like a 50-cent item. It's jewelry. That's just the way it goes. I'll just list it. It'll set. I'll forget about it. You know, we'll have a few cents in a listing something, and we'll sell a bunch. We sold a whole bunch this week. I had them on sale a few weeks back, and we sold some too. And after this went off sale is when I sold it. So, you know, sales ain't everything all the time. I don't worry so much about the sales. This one I hadn't even a clue what it is. It came in a big World War II collection. It's obviously a military or military police or something like that. It's some kind of crest. I took $30 for this. Literally, I've gotten, you know, a quarter or something into this thing. This is just one of those oddball things. No one knew what it was, and I just picked it up and took a shot at it. It looks good. I know it's vintage. It's definitely 40s or before, World War II era, so a good item. I listed in the World War II section. You can see it's small. It's just a little hat pin. This one I took $25 for. It was up for a little while. Yeah, I probably have maybe 40 cents in a listing. This one here. All these transportation ones always sell for us. And again, this is about the size of a postcard. And this showed up in a postcard collection, a transportation postcard collector. He collected nothing but transportation. And you'll find these in those types of collections. You know, I know there's subscribers I have who are running into this stuff as well and bought tons of postcards, tons of paper lots at auctions, and now they're searching it out. That's where you're going to find this. This is another hint. You're going to find transportation items across the board, anywhere you go, because people know they have some value. They just don't understand the real value in them. But let's move on here. Now, I showed this. I had no idea on what this would go for. I threw it up for $500. There's no other example. It's a newer piece. This is World War II-ish, I would guess. Maybe it could be as early as World War I. But I took $350 for it, and the person was very, very happy with it. I have no way to know if it works. I have no way to know what it does. It is as you see it. I spent, I think, $25 on several of these all together. So, you know, I made a $300 profit on this item. I got another couple at the same time and already sold those. So literally, you know, it's a huge profit maker, all these telegraph keys. And it doesn't have to be much. It just has to be full, complete, or something oddball. And I run into these lately all the time. I don't know what it is, but, you know, it seems to run in threes. So anyway, that was a good profit. And again, these are just random items, a small portion of what we sold for the week. You just already seen a ton of money that's gone through here just this week. So, you know, I'm not worried. The summer sales are not an issue for us because we list constantly and we have staff. If you're having problems, you can't get the stuff up, but you have a lot to sell, all you got to do is, you know, look into hiring somebody. I mean, you can hire people for, you know, minimum wage, and you're going to get a big return on investment as long as you've researched and done your homework and you know the items are good. This one was up for 2 days. And again, California postcards. We sold a ton of California postcards. I had one of my employees one whole day. That's all he did was put California postcards up. And I got about 110 or so that are already priced and ready to list as well, that they will be listing up this coming up week starting tomorrow. And then we're back to photos and smalls. I got a huge, and I mean huge, I filled my van up yesterday with a pick, and it was a big ordeal. I had to sort through. I'm going to show you some of that in a haul video coming up this week too. Some really interesting items here that I'm going to discuss, and some many bolos, a bunch of stuff that I just don't run into that you need to look for. But let's move on. $27.50, as I said, dollar postcard. Now this here, I know transportation items. This is a vintage from an ocean liner. I've had many Hamburg American line items, postcards and deck plans and brochures. I knew the logo. Anything with an anchor, you need to try and figure out how to look it up. You're welcome to join my Facebook group and the Auction Professor and post photos if you have stuff like this. I have books on buttons that the uniforms where there's 3 huge books on these. They're like a $500 set of books, but they show all of these logos so you can determine the actual line of it from this, because the uniform button that the employees wore on the ship looks identical to that logo, and that's usually the case on all of these items. But I took 40 on this, I think. Oh no, actually I'll strike that. This one did sell for 45, and they paid shipping on it. It's a very nice item. It's early. It's a nice piece. 1920s, I estimate, by the Bavarian mark on the back. Now, it helps to know the marks here. I have a book, but maybe in a future video I'll show you some good sites that literally will show you every one of these marks or the key issues in the marks, so you can judge the value and the date on these as well too. That's key to some of these areas. Again, I don't mess with much pottery, but I always buy travel transportation pottery, train items, transportation for airlines or anything like that. Always sells. Now this one I showed in a haul video. This one I took $27.50 for. A little surprised it went for that high because I put it way up. But it's a nice item, handmade, nice design, very interesting item. It's early, 1950s, 60s. It still fits a modern day lighter, so it was a good item to sell. And this is like a quarter item again. I got nothing into this. These kind of items you're going to see at Goodwill, I promise you that, because I've bought these same things at Goodwill many times in the basket by the register where they keep the sunglasses. It's a given. I run into this because if we do go to a Goodwill, again, I don't go very often. I only go for doing something else. But I do always look there. I'd look in the playing card section. I'll look in the toys, the records, and the books. And sometimes I'll look in the jackets when they have a bunch of jackets up. But other than that, I don't mess with too much at Goodwills anymore. But this you will find there. I found many of these there. Now this one here, this person asked me ahead of time, didn't put an offer in, but asked, I had 4 different cards by Bradley and Metcalf. I usually put these up in the set because there's usually 4 card sets. I've got a whole other set of these sitting there waiting to go up, but I had 4 different ones of these, all priced at $17.50. And again, as you know, I throw higher prices out there. He asked what I would take on the 4 if he bought them all. I told him $10, and a few minutes later I got an email and the offers all at the same time. Sure enough, I sold them all for $10 a piece, $40. And these were up. I got like 20 or 30 cents in a listing these each. So $1 in a listing them, $4 in a purchasing them, and I got $40 back minus fees. I still made $30 in just a few moments. It took seconds to list, seconds to take the photos. These are quick, easy items. And again, you'll see a couple more. I don't think I pulled all 4 of them up, but you'll get the idea. Another one here, $10, $10, and the 4th one also. Actually, they are up here. Here it is. So all 4 of them are $10. All to the same person, multiple purchase, same person. I believe his last name was Metcalf, so that gives you an idea. Family members. A lot of these items like this, people collect antiques of their family. They'll frame them. They'll put them in like reunions or anniversaries and set up for decorations and things. So it's not just collectors that buy these. So that's a misconception that there's a small market for these. The market is very wide. People who Apple farm, people who are into Apple items or things will buy like this specific card because it's a lovely image of a girl picking apples or whatever. Yeah, they're apples, I would say, since they're red. But people buy these because she's picking something. The title says lemons, but I'm probably it's apples. Some of the images, the artwork back from the day, they weren't the greatest on detailing it, so it's hard to tell on some. But either way, the item sold. I was very happy with it. Next one here. Now, I talk about comic books all the time. Again, this was a high price I threw in this, but again, I took $57.50 out of this. It's just the way things happen with us. It seems to be a routine on these comics. We get decent prices on stuff that just doesn't seem like it should be going for that much, you know. But anyway, $57.50, and usually I'm selling 5 of these in a lot. This one was the last one. There was only 4, and they still went for decent money. So we've made a ton on comic books. It's just a matter of buying the cheap ones. When I go to sales, if somebody's beat me to it, they've usually taken out the 10 and 12 cent covers and very, very key issues, and they don't know a whole bunch after that. So I pick up these early 15-cent issues of the better titles, like Amazing Spider-Man always sells. The Hulk, that usually sells. Things like that, or Thor. And I'll put them in lots of, 5, 6, 7 of them. I might have $1 into the comics, or 50 cents usually is what what I try to get them at when I buy in bulk, and then I can sell them for 30, 40, 50 bucks a lot. So for my max $5 investment, I'm usually getting 35 to 40 buck return on my investment after fees, after taxes, after everything's said and done, and the buyer pays shipping. And the last item here, another one of those tube radio things. I bought a whole bunch of tube radio parts, and I sold pretty much all the tubes and all the electronics. I've showed some of those in some of the videos, and the guy threw in a box of books. Didn't think much of it, but I started to look up the books, and they still sell. And again, here's a perfect example. I sold this one pretty much within, I think, a day or two of listing them. And then I've sold 3 more of these manuals. I had a whole stack of them. I do believe I did show them in a haul video too, so you can kind of get a gist on, how we run into these things. But that's literally about what we have. Look up some of these early items if you're not sure. Even the books without the barcodes are always good to sell, even if you can't get them up on Amazon, if you don't have permission. Permission's not that hard to get once you've been up and watched a few videos on how they've done it. I may go into that on how to get yourself into the collectibles on Amazon. If anybody has that interest, put some comments down below so I know that I have interest in actually doing a video on that. If I get a bunch of interest, I can show you. I do believe I have a copy of all the forms that I sent to Amazon to get myself into the collectibles department. Again, it took me a month or more to get in, but I did get in and I bugged the heck out of them. I can show you literally the final form I turned in, I do believe, that got me in the door, and show you how to kind of steer your forms in there so you can get accepted quickly. Maybe cut off some of the time and aggravation that I had. Because again, if I hadn't bugged them every day of the week to get onto Amazon, I probably wouldn't have got in like I did. It might have taken a heck of a lot more time. But I was lucky enough to find somebody who finally answered in the emails, who gave me a hint on what I needed to alter to change the documentation I had to get myself in there. And that was literally all it took. And then from that point on, any other of the areas that I've sought permission in, I've done it and steered it the same way and turned in the forms looking identical to the ones I turned in for collectibles. And I've gotten into every one that I've applied for. So, it is easy once you figure out what they are looking for.
Well, there you have it. That's some of what we sold. Hopefully that gives you some better ideas. I'm still waiting for some more feedback on our critique. If that went well, I'll try and get another one here in the next week or two. We'll try to get a few more out just so we can kind of go over and you can see some other stores and you can see some issues and we can address them from there. But again, everything we do here is based on business acumen. I don't really care about any of the personal, or I'm not trying to attack, or we're not trying to, stick up, defend, or charge, or anything else with anybody else or any of the issues that we point out. Again, they're just business-related issues. So, well, there you go. Hopefully you liked the video. If you did, please hit the like button below, subscribe, and tell a friend.